Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you. I think we've heard from all the candidates so far that we have serious problems in town, and we all pretty much know what those problems are. We may have different ways of looking at them, maybe thinking about them differently, but there's quite a bit of consensus on some of the issues. So the question is, why do I want to be up here helping make this happen? I was born and raised here. My parents came to go to school at Davis in the 40s, and they loved it so much they stayed. They both came up from Southern California, and they wanted to stay here and raise their family, so they did. It's a great place to raise a family. I have 3 siblings, and we could ride our bikes wherever we wanted to go. We had, it was like having a town full of parents who were looking out for us. You know, on the swim team, I knew all the swim parents. I knew what, in whatever things we were doing, there was always somebody there keeping an eye on making sure that it was a safe place to grow up. It was a great place to be a kid. It wasn't so good once you got to high school or in college because the town really didn't have much for kids that age to do. So when it was my turn to get to college, I left. I ran as fast as I could down to Berkeley. I've got my degree there. And then after working for a year and meeting my future wife, went out to Baltimore to get my PhD. Thought I was going to come back as a professor, like some of the people in the room. And when our oldest daughter, Caitlin, was ready to start kindergarten, we were living in Baltimore and looked around and said, this is not the place to have our kids in school. Public schools were pretty awful, and private schools were extremely expensive. So we packed up and came back to Davis, moved in next door to my parents. An opportunity, I grew up next to my grandmother, and so the opportunity to have our kids, raise our kids with their extended family was really valuable. So we came back and did that. Those 2 girls got up to high school. And watching them go through life, it was still a good place to be a kid. There was lots of places. You had an opportunity to find a job in town. If you were a student, you could stay here. There were places to live, appropriate places to live. You could raise a family here. It was still a great place to be a kid. Not so much when they got to college and they both took off, went down to San Diego to go to school. While they were still teenagers, though, we decided to become foster parents. We were Yolo County foster parents for about 9 years, and in the process adopted 4 kids. They're now 6th grade to 9th grade. So there are 4 of them right in a row. And it's not such a great place to be a kid today. I can't tell you how many of my kids' classmates, teammates, best friends live in Woodland, in Dixon, West Sacramento. There's no place for families to live. So our kids are being pushed out of town. Our young workers, our young professionals are being pushed out of town. That's something that's, is obvious to everybody. What are we going to do about it? I want to go back to having a place where you can come to go to school, like it so much that you want to stay and raise a family like my parents did, or go away to go to school, go away for school, and then come back and raise a family like I was able to do. My kids can't do that. So how are we going to get there? I see that we have 3 major problems in the town. First is our fiscal situation. Right? Yeah. Terrible fiscal situation. Depending on who you talk to, 15 to 20% of our budget is a deficit. Our general fund, 15 to 20% of our general fund is a deficit. Okay, how are we going to replace that? That's a challenge. We've been doing this for a while now, actually, this deficit spending, and we're looking at tens of millions of dollars of unfunded obligations. Our roads are deteriorating, our infrastructure is deteriorating, our parks are going. Everything. We don't even have the resources to reinvest in things that were good for our kids. Look at we have this absolutely fantastic community around the Little League Park that I get to enjoy now because my 2 boys are playing Little League, something I'd never experienced myself. That park is a great location for a community. Families come there, they hang out in the evening, the kids get to run around and play, there's lots of adults watching them. It's falling apart. It's too small. And we don't have the resources to invest in a new facility. Housing. I just talked about it. You can't find a place to live. Thank you. We need more housing. If you look at our history, we are a host city for a major university. Since the 40s, if you track the growth rate of the university and the growth rate of the city, they were together. They were parallel. There were some fits and starts here and there, but over the course of that, most of the history of the town, the two grew together. Since 2000, that's not been true. The university continues to grow on the same path, but we don't. And as a consequence, we don't have enough places to live. We need more apartments, we need townhouses, we need stacked flat condominiums. We need to build so that there's an appropriate place to live in town. And the third thing, which is just as serious a problem as far as I'm concerned, is inclusiveness. Roughly 55% of the people in the town, if you believe what the city says on their website, 55% of the city residents are renters. More than the majority of the town are renters. And yet our policies are all focused on property owners. The downtown committee that we just put together to talk about the new core area specific plan, right? 20 citizens apartment, how many of them are renters? Not very many.